You're listening to That's Pretty Dark,
the podcast where we talk about all the entertainment that scared us as children
and still haunts us as adults. So grab your flashlight and join us as we take a frightfully nostalgic look over our shoulders
and under our beds
and in our closets.
And together we'll realize, whoa, that's pretty dark.
No error messages.
I'm really proud of you. Really proud of Audacity, and
I think that's the quickest we've ever troubleshoot, or I've ever solved a technical issue ever.
Well, as soon as it happened, you said you thought you knew why it happened, and I was
which has never happened, but it just doesn't happen. Not in my world. It must be all the good luck we're having lately.
We are having some good luck to start off this year.
What do you think it is? Is it the unicorn in our life that we've been so graced by?
I personally don't find the unicorn to be as enchanting as some people, which we will get to today. But something has definitely graced us with some sort of pixie dust.
It sure has,
because Christian and I, dear Darklings, by the way, that's our names. My name's Kalyn.
Yeah, it is. And you said S. My name's Christian.
And here on our little show, That's Pretty Dark.
Tiny, minuscule show.
Itty bitty little show. We have
in my pocket
the most exciting news that we have ever shared with our dear Darkling community.
Ever.
Or you, dear stranger, who may be listening to this.
We've been doing the big things coming thing for weeks.
Weeks upon weeks. And it is our pleasure to let you know that we have been signed to the ParaPods
Network.
You didn't say it with me. I said it real slow.
We
effect.
have been signed to the ParaPods Network.
We still can't believe it. We're asking each other and ourselves every day if this is real life. And somehow it seems like it is.
It seems to be. The other shows seem real enough.
They do. They seem real enough. We've been getting to know the other shows. That's something very exciting to celebrate joining the network. We were invited to be part of a Valentine speed dating cross promo event.
Speed dating of all things.
I
don't know a thing about speed dating. How does it
I've
work?
never speed dated in my life.
How do you win?
How do you get points?
It was so awesome. I got to go on with Sierra from Ladies and Tangents.
And I got to hang out with M from And That's Why We Drink, the one and only.
Yeah.
It was incredible. They came on the show, and you'll get to hear that in just a second, I think. We've never done anything like this before, but we're just so pumped and so excited to be part of it.
If you want to hear mine, you can go listen to Ladies and Tangents, and then M will be on our show.
Maybe right now. Hi, hello, welcome here. We are here on That's Pretty Dark podcast with possibly the most exciting thing that's ever happened to That's Pretty Dark podcast. EM SCHULZ is joining us from And That's Why We Drink for also a very special reason. We are now part of the ParaPods family, the ParaPods network. Em and Christine have built this platform and family of creators, and by some string of fate, thread of happenstance, something along those lines, we are lucky enough to be part of that. And we are joined by M of And That's Why We Drink today for a very exciting ParaPods speed dating. I don't even know what to call it. I'm so excited, and I'm a little bit nervous because I've never speed dated before.
Well, it's very nice of you to give me the credit saying that we created this network, but I also hats off to Eva, who is with us today.
Eva, absolutely.
She has done quite the heavy lifting when it comes to the network, and it has also created this speed dating, so that way podcasts on our network are able to all get to know each other, and our listeners are able to kind of get a litlittle bite-sized piece of other shows that are available for them. And
it's incredible. I have heard for years you and Christine, we just said this off air, I have heard for years you and Christine talk about Eva, and Eva truly has, every step of the way, your brain, your mind, the way
powerful.
So powerful in all hail.
No, I'm just happy to be here, and I'm very excited to. I also didn't come up with these questions. This was again all Eva, so the two of us are equally about how much do you? Well, I was gonna say how much do you know about me, but it sounds like maybe a lot.
I
It's gonna
mean,
be this is gonna be a whole new experience for me. I'm
more
so
than
sorry.
you know about me, but I don't like a lot is still a lot to say. I
Okay,
will see.
perfect.
Listeners, and that's pretty dark might have heard me talk about it, but my listener story was selected for its volume 60 of
Oh,
listener stories on And That's Why We Drink. It was the month that That's Pretty Dark premiered. And Eva,
love it.
from just in her infinite wisdom, actually chose my listener story, which was so exciting. I was in the shower when I heard it. I was getting ready for work, and I just screamed to myself because like, that's so. What are the odds? And it's so cool. And then lo and behold, here we are now. So it's just a
Yeah,
really cool full circle.
I know. I'm excited to speed date with you.
Yeah, Love
Love.
Fest now
I would.
speed date.
I would love to learn all about you. All right, and we've got Eva on site
On
for
site.
with a blockbuster buzzer. We are apparently only allowed to give 30-second answers, which is honestly
Whew.
the best rule Eva's ever fucking come up with
I
because
know.
otherwise this would be a full
All
episode.
day.
Okay. So, first question.
Not looking.
Oh, immediately. Great question, Eva. Okay. What random VHS tape did your family of origin watch on repeat?
Which is hilarious because this is I as That's Pretty Dark podcast commented this question. That's hilarious.
And by
So
the way, there's a caveat at the end. It says, and why is it always all dogs go to heaven? Which
because
I
mine
do.
was.
Oh, get out. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
mine
Well done,
definitely
Eva.
was over and over and over. Also, Labyrinth. Labyrinth was huge. That was my grandparents' house. That was the VHS tape that we had, and constant loop. And I don't know why, because I can't imagine my grandparents, who were very, very conservative, would have loved David Bowie as a concept, but you
You're like,
never
what's
know.
this all about? Yeah.
But yeah,
Was that
that's my answer.
that's the one where the hands do this, right?
Yeah, so many hands and a cave and a yeah.
My random VHS tape of in my family was We're Back with the dinosaurs.
Yes.
It was I don't even remember the story to this day, but it was like I don't know, the dinosaurs were dead and then came back to life and then died again or something.
Pretty much.
And they went on this adventure and the end. Also I was a big Fievel fan.
Fievel.
Yeah.
Somewhere out there beneath the pale moonlight, someone's thinking of me.
Oh my god. Stop it. Well,
Yeah.
that's my answers.
Okay, my turn, yeah? Okay.
hmm
Let's get this going. Okay, I really like this question. Who was your first cartoon crush?
Even though I am strictly interested in non-men, I can't. We all know the answer. It's Kovu. Like I'm not.
Kovu.
Like, come on. I was Kovu, and then as I got older, I feel a little bit like I was sexualizing women because it was all the like meant to look kind of slutty
Right.
cartoons where it was like
The Jessica
um
Rabbit effect.
yes, the Lola Bunny,
Lola Bunny.
Shigo
Shigo.
was my gay awakening in
Yeah.
cartoons, I think. And I just saw someone dressed like her yesterday, and it was amazing. The end.
Bravo.
Love it.
Cartoon crush. So, I mean, in the vein of Kovu, Simba was up there. Like,
Duh.
Simba, Lion King was one of my first favorite movies that I can recall. So Simba is like an obvious no-brainer. But the one that really sticks with me is Balto. Darklings will know
I
that.
get it.
It's just, I mean, he did a lot, and then the whole thing with the glass, and Jenna's,
And he's
you know,
he's a hero. He's a
and
hero, and he's so
hero.
athletic.
He's bringing antitoxin to Nome, Alaska, where the children desperately like.
He saves
What
the
more
children.
do you need?
And you know what? I see your Balto, and I raise you Tramp if Balto's on a diet.
Yeah, you know what?
I
Yeah,
think they're the exact same dog, except they made one like more like Nome, Alaska friendly, like just really
makes
like
sense. Balto's
thick
just
fur.
maybe like slightly bigger. Oh, you just like click and drag, you know, like the
Yes.
file.
just like zoom
Right?
in.
There he
There's, like,
is.
yeah. My next question to you
Yes, I haven't looked.
is what is your dream? Ooh, reincarnation. Good luck. You have 30 seconds.
Whoa, 30 seconds dream reincarnation? Oh no. I mean,
I know.
it like animal, vegetable, mineral. Like where am I even at? Like I would like to experience what it's like to be something that I'm not, I guess.
Yeah.
So perhaps something in the animal world. 30 seconds is not enough time to explore this.
Yeah, this isn't fair.
Fictional characters, like there's just so many places you could go.
Uh,
Taylor
mm,
Swift, maybe,
know-
just to
you know
know what
what?
that's like.
I would love to reincarnate into a billionaire. You're right.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
a
and
great
of
answer.
billionaires, only that one and only that one ever.
Here's the thing, and not to get on a political rant, but
Get
if
on a
you're
political rant, please.
if you're a billionaire, why wouldn't you want to be remembered as the person who saves
Solved
everyone?
world hunger.
I don't get it.
I genuinely don't understand. Hey, what's your dream reincarnation? You have 30 seconds. Don't panic about it.
I think my first response is like someone who doesn't sleep 20 hours a day like a bear. I'd like to know what
Ooh.
the rest of the world is up to when the sun's up.
No hibernating. Okay.
No hibernating, or maybe a bear, so I can like finally not feel shame as I'm sleeping so much.
You know what? That makes a lot of sense. Okay. My next question, M. This is a serious one, so brace yourself.
Literally, don't worry. I don't have a funny bone in my body.
How many seagulls would you have to find in your home to think somebody was putting them there intentionally?
I love this question. Honestly, I live in an area where one is enough, but I'm gonna assume I live in a seagull friendly town, and they just kind of pop on over.
Yeah.
I'd say I'm nervous by 10.
10.
I'm gonna give them a lot of grace. I'm
That is
gonna try
a
to
lot
find
of
the benefit
seagull
of the doubt.
grace. Of birds, seagulls are not the ones I'd typically want to give grace to, but hey.
I'm thinking like maybe I left bread out.
Okay,
And,
all right.
Okay, you live in New York City.
Thank you.
How
Yeah.
many
Better.
how many pigeons
Ooh.
would you have to find in your home to think that somebody's putting them intentionally?
Man,
and like
and this is
and the window is open, so like one
The win-
pigeon could get in.
one could definitely. In that case, I mean, I don't know if I'd go as high as 10 still, but is the Pigeon Man from Hey Arnold involved? We've been talking a lot about Pigeon Man in the last year.
Just watched a video about Pigeon Man this morning. That's
Pigeon Man
incredible.
is very important to us culturally. I'm gonna say 4. Because like 3
Okay.
might be traveling together, and then by the time 4 arrive, you're like, all right, there's something to this.
So this one's actually serious, especially to millennials.
Okay, here we go.
Were Ross and Rachel on a break?
Okay, that's why I saw Ross and Rachel. Oh my, this is so polarizing. Like half of the Darkling audience is gonna be,
I won't judge you. I won't
thank
judge
you. Thank you. I mean, that means a lot. Yes, they were on a break. They had made a decision to be on a break. They had talked about it. They had communicated explicitly about that thing. Do I love Ross's actions? No, who would? And of course Rachel didn't. But I don't know that Rachel had grounds to say, hey, that, I think that they talked about it. I think that all the communication.
Agreed. Although
good.
I feel like his actions were not illegal. I guess they were like decriminalized,
You
but
know,
I I morally would still not get back together with him because I'd be like, unless you were blasted drunk, there's no way you could have emotionally done that.
Right. You were ready for this thing. I like this question. So the next question, what was your AIM username?
Lefty Sponge. Because it was generated on AOL.com because I was 11 and didn't know what to do. And it said,
Yeah.
would you like a screen name? And I honestly didn't know people could put their own. I thought the way through was to type it
click
into this
that
box.
button.
And it told you what it was. Like, this is what's available. And I was called Lefty because I was the only left-handed person on the tennis team, and I loved SpongeBob. And so I put Lefty and SpongeBob, and it just gave me Lefty Sponge.
This is peak millennial cringe. And it's even worse, actually, because I did choose it, and it was post age 11. Because I feel like my Neopets screen names might have been a little more revealing. But this was the one that I remember. I think it was like mid-high school when I got a new AIM screen name. And I'm stalling. I'm avoiding it. So maybe the timer will go off and I want to say it.
Rip it off like a band-aid.
My screen name in high school was Autograph My Soul.
Girl, did you... Nope, it's over.
It's over and I don't have to explain it. I don't have to justify myself. And that's what you're going to call me from now on. This first time of us meeting and hanging out.
Going to my phone. Don't worry.
Perfect. Okay, this is great. And I love how Eva is poised and ready with the button.
Not threatening at all. So.
Not even a little bit. If an alien studied you for a week, what incorrect conclusion would they reach? I assume about the human race. As a
Oh,
whole.
not about me alone. Okay. About the human
I'm
race.
inserting that.
I don't know. The only thing I can think of is that video where like someone was pretending to be an alien and they like lock the doors when they drive past Earth. I think they'd be like, this,
Yeah.
like,
They'd be
I
like,
don't
never
even
mind.
wa-
Just
I don't want to go over there.
overall.
And I kind of think that'd be a correct conclusion. So I don't know. Maybe the one person who was optimistic and was like, no, let's stop in for lunch. Like, I think that alien I judge. Does that make sense?
You're like, what are you doing here?
That was
Take
the
me with
dumbest
you.
answer
The
about you or the human race.
incorrect conclusion is that I think that my cats can speak English because I talk to them as if they can, and so they would maybe assume that cats can or at least understand it when, I mean, I know in reality that they can't, but I'm convinced one of my cats is like pretty good at it, pretty close. Like she's got a lot of words, you know?
Okay, my next question.
I'm so ready. I love how we're like, yeah, Eva, buzzer, we like a buzzer. And then both of us are like, buzzer?
Yeah.
I hardly know her.
This question, by the way, gets me going. Can you give me a ride after this?
Can you give me a ride after this?
How long would it take for you to get here to pick me up?
You know, so I'm in Alabama.
So like minimum 30 hours.
I could call an Uber to you to bring you to. I mean, that would be a move, right? That could be a move.
Actually, that would be a power move for sure because you actually did just solve it in a way that isn't so crazy. So yeah, you give me an Uber. Come on.
Right, and then but me never having speed dated, I'm like, where do you need a ride to? Where you headed?
No. You know what? That didn't even cross my mind either.
Yeah. Can you give me a ride after this?
I'm busy.
Whew. Stone cold. Felt it in here, deep where my heart lives, my soul.
I know someone who has a car though. They could maybe help you.
That's helpful. Thanks.
Okay. I actually am very curious about this one. What is the most common compliment that you receive?
Oh man. That is wow. Most common,
Girl, there has to be something.
There has to be. I'm thinking of like I'm trying to average something out that really is few and far between. Like I listen. Like I give it. I don't know. Like listening, talking, exchanging, communicating. People say that I'm pretty good at communicating in general.
Sure.
And it's a good thing because like that's what I got a degree in. So I guess that's good. But my communication. I feel like I'm able to, even though I have like my people pleasing tendencies and whatever else, I can communicate. Sometimes.
Understood. It's common this week. I've been getting a lot of compliments that I tell a good story. So,
also very helpful.
Been at the dog park a lot. Been going out to dinners with people, and I think part of me does not at all move in silence, but I guess there's parts of me where people are like, "Wait, what?" And so when I get to explain those parts to me, it's always an interesting story. So
yeah,
I'm gonna take that. I'll take that.
Very much related, and yeah, the idea that you can create intrigue. Like,
I love that.
Yeah, that's big. That's important. And I can tell you, not everybody can do that. But I mean, you are the king.
Here is your final question.
Okay.
Shout out your emotional support water bottle. If there are stickers, your favorite color, brand, anything like that. Oh,
man.
And if you don't have one, why don't you like hydration?
See, I don't like hydration is the problem, which is why I have the bottle. It's not in the room with me, but I would love to go and get it. But I'm on a 30-second timer and I can't.
Describe it for us, babe.
There are Phoebe Bridgers stickers. Several. There's I have this one on my laptop too, but it's if your history doesn't make you uncomfortable, it's propaganda. Like if like something along those lines is not perfect. Mary Kate and Ashley stickers. Fleabag. What else is on there? It's purple in a gradient, like a purple gradient color, like a dark purple. That's it.
My go-to, I don't have like a bottle, like a hydro flask or whatever, but I have a lot of like to-go tumblers.
Yes.
And my favorite these days is neon pink. It has all 4 of the original Bratz dolls on it, and it says dump him.
Oh, amazing.
And I don't put stickers on my cups because I have a sensory thing about them getting washed and worrying about the stickers.
Very
I have a sticker book, and these would be on them.
Show me a page, just a page. It's outside of the time where Eva just, if you don't mind.
Well, I'll show you this because this I have it clumped in categories, and the first category is nostalgia. So, here's one page. It has a few things in it.
Yes, we have a backpack. That is the 2000s. It's like a tarot card with some 2000s tech, which is incredible.
And then the little
like
cluster.
See-through. What do they call it? Like the Mac that was see-through, and they call it something. I've seen
I just know like, I just call it the clear craze
Clear.
because
Oh,
everything was
okay.
clear.
Mhm.
And then I found these were like those old Playmobil, I think, toys, but they look like they've had a hardened life,
Oh yeah, they've lived some time
a checkered
somewhere,
past. And
somewhere
then
that I don't want to go.
I have way too many of these, but I'll finish on my this is my favorite sticker in the whole sticker book, and it's in my nostalgia section. You ready?
I'm,
You're not ready for it.
I'm not,
You've never seen a sticker
frankly.
quite like this. What if we kissed in the McDonald's burger jail?
Oh,
I
my
love
McDonald's
her.
didn't have a burger jail, but I've always seen them
You
and
were
wanted
so
one.
deprived.
Yeah,
I
we had
never
a
kissed
small
anyone in
town
the
McDonald's.
McDonald's burger jail, but I thought about crime a lot. I feel like I learned so much about you.
Yeah, you too. Thank you again for being here. Thank you, Eva, for putting this all together.
I am happy that you are where you are, and I'm happy that you're with us. I'm glad
Me
you are
too.
on our network and everything. And
Thank you.
I'm very happy for you.
Yeah,
I'm glad I got to know you.
Yeah, so glad to get to know you. Glad to continue getting to know you. Can't wait to meet Christine. And honestly, the whole fam Christian had a great time with Sierra from Ladies and Tangents. That's going to be on
Oh, yeah.
Ladies and Tangents. Yeah, we could not be more excited. It's the kind of thing where we kind of pitched the show to the network last year in just like the most long shot Hail Mary kind of deal, where it was like that would make a lot of sense, but they're never gonna see it. They're never gonna know. And then lo and behold, now you know. Thank you.
It's very sweet. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Means so much, and from Christian as well, I'm sure. Can't wait.
Can't wait.
You lucky dog.
Yeah, I loved it. It was
That's
such
so
a good
fun.
time. We were like texting afterward about, 90s fashion and Pokemon cards.
I mean, yeah, what else would you talk about? I mean, we were texting afterward, me and Sierra and Eva, about birds, different fowl.
I could see how once I saw the questions, I was like,
Seagulls,
yeah, I see how you got there. The bird thing didn't make sense to me until then.
Because I was asking about, I was like, well, you're not anywhere near the beach. Do you have like parking lot seagulls? And she was like, no. And then later she said, actually, we do have parking lot seagulls.
It's so interesting.
I was just informed what we do.
I used to think about that as a kid because we live near the coast, and I was always like, do other people have seagulls in parking lots, or is that just us?
Yeah, we settled on the fact that
that's an American phenomenon in general.
Yeah, but no, the parking lot seagull itself is a cryptid.
Okay, that's fine. I'm down with that.
So
I will sign off on that. That's good with me.
I mean, I'd vote for it.
That means I've had a whole lot more cryptid sightings in my life than I previously thought.
It makes my whole life seem that much more magical.
And
speaking of things, make your life more magical. It's supposed to be when you meet a unicorn, right?
It's supposed to be.
The most magical thing on the planet?
Yeah, I can't say that it made me feel entirely magical for reasons we will get to. But our first movie night of 2026 has been a long time coming. I think we have mentioned that this was not a childhood staple for either of us, but my best friend Logan, along with dozens of Darklings, have been angling for us to do this movie for a really long time, and I managed to watch it with Logan last year in preparation.
I mean, for all that we feel about the movie, I mean, we'll talk about it more in part 2. Loved the book.
Good. Great.
Loved
that
it.
Makes me
absolutely love.
I really like the cover.
Me too. It's beautifully illustrated. There are no actual illustrations. But my God, one of my favorite books I've ever read.
Wow. That is high praise. And yeah, that makes me feel better.
I mean, it's like, oh, the movie's not as good as the book. It pales in comparison. Pales.
It would have to, I think. For all of the the discussion. I mean, a lot of people really do love this movie, and for all the discussion online, around the book, I assume really the book has to soar,
it actually really, I did not expect it to. I was not looking forward to reading it, sorry to say. I
would imagine there's heart in the book that was very difficult to capture in the movie, but again, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
So much existentialism, it's unreal.
I expected the darkness, but I didn't expect the off-puttingly otherworldly quality, and that hit me really hard. This film imbues a tangible sense of wonder, and like most of our childhood favorites, right along with it, the acute reminder that almost nothing we care about lasts forever.
It hurts.
The Last Unicorn, produced and directed by none other than Arthur Rankin Jr. and Jules Bass, hit just over 600 theaters on November 19th, 1982. It follows a solitary unicorn who learns that she may be the last of her kind. Determined to discover what happened to the others, she sets out on a quest full of shady characters and raw existentialism that forces her into the human world, a place rife with corruption, sorrow, and fading magic.
Fading magic. I'm really glad you made that point, because there's so much more in the book about how magic
the ways
fades.
That the magic was fading.
The way that the world... It's like how
the world has swallowed the magic.
Right. It's either how the world has affected the magic or how the magic has affected the world. And I couldn't tell which one it was. All I know was there was less magic in this world, although it's never explicitly said. Mm-hmm. You have to pick up on that as you go.
Yeah, it's like a dying battery is what it feels like. Like it existed in this world. It was here. It was present with us.
One time.
And so there is this distinct lack. It's missing something. And that gutted me. And I felt it throughout the whole movie.
It may very well have to do with the entire plot and the fact that the magic has been hoarded. The magic has been hoarded.
Deemed a sparkling animated musical by IMDb, there is no arguing that this film was unique, even by early 80s animation standards.
Sorry, I laugh because the author, Peter, he's a poet.
Yeah.
And I know you're going to talk about him. But the thing I'm laughing about is there are so many beautiful verses thrown into this novel, sometimes sung by the characters, oftentimes sung by the characters. This could have been a sparkling musical. It could very well have been one based on the text, but it wasn't.
No, I liked the music a lot, but there was a disconnect. There was a mismatch. And we'll talk about some of the reasons why that might be the case. I just think
he could have picked up and put back down, and it would have been great. But he didn't do that.
We'll see why.
Oh, reasons. At least there's a reason.
This movie was by no means a smash hit, but it grossed over $6 million at the box office on a roughly $3 to $3.5 million budget, and it went on to achieve cult status through home video and TV airings throughout the 80s and into the 90s. And as I said before, this one I missed. And despite my general ennui and ever-present existential dread that should have helped me lean into this film, I feel like even as a kid, if I had watched as a kid, there was something that was too flattened about both the conventions and the visuals that would have kept me from connecting to this film the way that I needed to.
Yeah.
The comparison that I would make is Brave Little Toaster. Because it's as a kid, although I watched it over and over and over again, I was watching it to understand why I felt the way that I did, not so much because I liked the movie. And so this may have been similar.
It feels like it's right in there with Brave Little Toaster and Nemo.
Yeah, Little Nemo.
That one's
had a lot in common. With Little Nemo. But watching it made me feel almost like I was outside of myself, and not in a good way. But I may be in the minority.
It's a depressing movie.
And I'm sure the Darklings will sound off to let me know.
It's kind of a depressing book, but in a different way. And the book is full of life. The movie,
you know me, and yes, if something's depressing, it's not necessarily going to put me off of the thing. Right. But it can be depressing in an uplifting way.
It's depressing in a good way. Yeah, the book is. And I don't feel like the movie is necessarily. But
I don't get that vibe. Like we continue to say, there will be plenty more commentary to get to in part 2, but as seasoned Darklings might assume, today's pretty dark story begins decades prior to the box office with fantasy author Peter S. Beagle.
Old Beaks. Peter Biggs.
Mr. Beagle has been generous with interviews and appearances over the years, several of which I'll be referencing, including a making-of type featurette. And I'll also be heavily referencing one of the most comprehensive compilations of production information that I have ever come across in my pretty dark research. Really? There was this article on Substack. It was a Substack called Animation Obsessive, and they scoured the internet for every interview, every talking point that's ever been made about this movie. So thank you, Animation Obsessive. Wow. You made this episode so much easier for us.
Love it.
I feel a bit like Lemony Snicket when I caution you up top that Beagle has called this novel the hardest, least fun thing that he ever had to write.
Never had to. Why did he have to write it?
Right. He did. It was within him, and that's what I'm going to walk us through.
I say that as a compulsive writer myself. I totally get it. There are things that just pop up.
You just
have
to
write them, whether you enjoy it or not.
Right. It seems like this was the case for him.
I don't know why you wouldn't, though. My God, it's a beautiful manuscript. I love this thing.
From his interviews, it was immediately apparent to me that Beagle is different. He described events of his childhood with an ethereal lucidity, and I realize that sounds almost oxymoronic, but I feel like he's the kind of person with one foot firmly in reality and one foot just as firmly somewhere else. Yeah. It's exactly the kind of person that you would imagine to write fantasy novels and poetry. And fun fact, the screenplay for the 1978 animated Lord of the Rings, which made him the first screenwriter to take an authorized swing at Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. I saw that.
He also wrote an introduction for the
impressed.
American print version. So he was like really closely tied into the Tolkien world.
Sure. Yeah. He does reference, magical rings as a motif of fantasy literature in the book. It's
Makes
very
sense.
Self-aware, this novel.
You know me, Darklings know me. I've been a dreamer since I came online. But something about Peter Beagle and I just didn't mix. I feel like there was this distance to him because of his like fantasy penchant that I couldn't find him. I couldn't catch him. Like it was lacking a certain type of warmth for me. But I know that like, again, maybe this just isn't my story. This isn't my fantasy. And I can recognize that.
The story or him as a person?
I think it's a little bit of both because they are so closely entwined, as we'll see.
Yeah.
Beagle was raised in the Bronx, New York, where his mother taught elementary school. He recounted telling her class all about unicorns when he was 5 or 6 years old, and he regularly begged his parents to take him to the Cloisters Museum, which is still America's only museum dedicated to the art of the Middle Ages, to see the unicorn tapestries that are hanging there.
Yeah.
If you look at photos of those tapestries, I would do that. I would go look at photos of those tapestries before you watch the opening credits of this film, if you're going to rewatch it or watch it for the first time, because the similarities are uncanny. The
illustrations are very similar. I love those tapestries, though. I've always wondered about the history of them. Because, did people ever really believe in unicorns at one point in time? Like, do we have that information? I don't know.
I don't today, but I think that we need to for part 2 because, I'd love to know the history behind that. I think that, yes, to a degree, there are people that did, and I think those are the people that Beagle took inspiration from.
Yeah.
He was gifted this very like influential painting, something that meant a lot to him when he was 17. I think it was an uncle of his. He was from a family of painters, which is also not surprising. But this painting depicted a unicorn in a fight with a bull. And so that idea also was just in his mind from the time he was a teenager.
Rarely do we see like the origin of the thing.
It was really clear in this case.
Yeah.
Graduating high school in the 50s and winning early awards and scholarships for his poetry, he quickly got a degree in creative writing, and then he did a creative writing fellowship at Stanford.
Oh, wow.
He wrote his first novel, A Fine and Private Place, when he was only 19, and a memoir called I See by My Outfit in 1965. He said he read tons of fantasy and mythology from childhood on, and he also took inspiration from the 1941 novel The Colt from Moon Mountain, which is a story about a unicorn in Kansas.
Oh.
He was 29 when The Last Unicorn was finally published in 1968. And I do think that there's something really nice about somebody's muse just following them through their life. Like remembering being 5 or 6 and like not being able to shut up about the unicorns. And then that just carried on into his 30s and well beyond.
I mean, we throw the word haunting around a lot, haunt. But it sounds like he was haunted by this concept, this idea that he was going to do this one day.
I wrote that exact thing
that down, didn't
in
you?
my notes. I sure did.
See, we do talk about the haunt quite a bit. Haunt with an E.
But it did. It haunted him. He spent the better part of the 60s on this story. The core of it, which came to him in 1962 while he was on an artist retreat in Berkshire Hills.
That's the only thing he was on back in the 60s, right?
It's hard to say. And honestly,
no shame.
It would make a lot of sense if there were some substances.
Seriously, though, what was he smoking? Let me have some. Because if I could just tap into that for like a minute, just like a fortnight is all I need. A fortnight.
Yeah, that would do it. That would do it for anybody.
What I couldn't
He was
do
taking
with
a breather after Viking Press rejected a manuscript of his called The Mirror Kingdom. We keep coming up with mirror kingdoms around the Pretty Dark hallways also. And said that the idea for the novel was just suddenly there. Unicorn told that she was the last of her kind. The original Last Unicorn manuscript was published as The Last Unicorn, the Lost version in 2006. It was just 85 pages long and instead set in modern times. But he called that project a dead end, working on that from 1963 to 1965 before he abandoned that story completely to write it in its current form.
That makes more sense.
It's like these versions of things where he's wanting to tell this story and then he kind of hits a dead end. And he's like, that's not but I'm not making the point. I'm not doing the thing that I feel like I was setting out to do. And so just changing course.
Yeah. And he needed to set it in a fantasy world, not the like modern, real like reality. And that makes, but it's funny too, because there's so many holdovers from like the modern world, like literally even in the movie, they sit down around the fire with Captain Cully, and he offers him a taco.
Right.
You know, it's just
he did. And
there's these there's these subtle little moments. They're like little glimpses into the modern times, like modern day. And it's all played like for humor. It's hilarious.
The reverse. If we're talking the Mirror Kingdom, whatever, it's almost like the reverse. It's like we're in reality and there are these little glimpses of fantasy, but they're in fantasy and there are these little glimpses of reality.
It's very well done. I was very impressed.
Truly, he spent 6 full years shaping an idea that had haunted his consciousness since childhood. But it's fitting to me that Beagle then dedicated the novel to Olfert Dapper, who was a 17th century Dutch physician who wrote books about world history and geography, including references to unicorns in the area of modern-day Maine. Though the first sentence of this guy's Wikipedia bio also notes that he never traveled outside of the Netherlands. So, do with that what you will.
Yeah, to the memory of Dr. Olfert Dapper, who saw a wild unicorn in the Maine woods in 1673.
Saw a wild unicorn in the Maine woods, though, again, the first sentence of this Wikipedia contradicts that. But, I mean, hey, maybe more information has come out since, 1968.
It was a long time ago.
Beagle clearly, though, found Dapper to be a kindred spirit, and he published a novelette, Olfert Dapper's Day, a fictional log of Dapper's travels in 2012.
That's fun, though.
In the mid-2000s, Beagle announced that he'd written several new stories, which were indirectly or directly linked to The Last Unicorn, 3 unicorn stories and 2 Schmendrick stories. In 2017, these stories were gathered in a short story collection titled The Overneath. And he ended up writing a short story as a sequel to The Last Unicorn in 2006 called 2 Hearts, which was again published in 2023, packaged together as The Way Home, 2 novellas from the world of The Last Unicorn, packaged with a new novella called Suze. So not only did he finally get there, he found his way to this novel, this thing, his life's work that he'd been building to, but then he built on it ever since.
Right.
Which is also kind of rare,
Yeah,
it's kind of rare to have that happen and to have something that you, not only that it's successful that you stick to, but that you want to stick with.
I mean, he found his unicorn. You know what I mean?
He found his
unicorn. And when you find the unicorn, you can never let it go, no matter how much it wants to get away from you. You just can't do it.
And he would probably agree with you, because I say he ended up writing a sequel because this is how he described it in an interview with sci-fi.com in 2006.
The blunt truth is that I accidentally got prodded into it by my business manager. He wanted me to write a story set in the world of The Last Unicorn as a promotional extra for the release of the unabridged Last Unicorn audiobook. And he got around all my objections by telling me I didn't have to include any of the characters from the book. And once I started to do what he asked, well, things happened. The truth is that I'd never given any thought to writing a sequel, but once I began this story, that's what came out. I was startled at how easily it came. Maybe because I'm taking another stance altogether. Maybe because this time I was telling it from a first-person point of view. But as difficult as The Last Unicorn was to write, 2 Hearts was a comparative breeze.
It's really interesting to me that it's just like he had to go through that trial, Like he had to jump those hurdles and write The Last Unicorn, and then everything that came after it was flowing. He opened the dam.
I had to pop the cork, man.
Yeah.
I know what that's like.
Pop the cork. Aside from The Last Unicorn, Beagle has written or contributed to over 30 books, including additional novels, nonfiction, and short stories, but none so cinematically inclined as this one.
He didn't write Zathura, The Last Unicorn Adventure?
In space.
In space. The Last Unicorn in space.
The Last Unicorn in space.
Oh, man.
Quite a few groups pitched to Beagle hoping to score the film rights to The Last Unicorn. Early on, Lee Mendelson and Bill Melendez, the minds behind the Peanuts TV specials, put in their bid, but Beagle was convinced by one of their partners' wives that they weren't good enough to take on the project.
No way.
Yeah. Just, hey, don't pick them. They can't do it.
Good for her. I can't imagine a Peanuts-styled Last Unicorn
I can't either.
animation.
The world was just, the Peanuts world is slice of life. It's kind of smaller. So I
mean,
I
to
get
be
that.
fair, Rankin and Bass is pretty.
As we'll soon see,
small,
yeah, the path that it ended up taking was also not the expected path.
Doesn't live up to the expectations.
Beagle teamed up with producer Michael Chase Walker to find the right fit, and by 1972, the rights were optioned by a production company called Balaban and Quine. I had to check that like 6 times because it's just, they're people's names, I assume. But like, huh? It went absolutely nowhere, and the cycle repeated many times throughout the 70s. Beagle said, the film was always almost getting made and then fizzling out. Right to the last, I never expected it to be a movie. Wow. You and I know a thing or two about that.
Yeah, yeah.
And then here we are on ParaPods, because sometimes miracles happen.
Especially when you have a unicorn.
Animation Obsessive said,
Michael Chase Walker was a young, scrappy, independent producer, darting from New York to Illinois to California, who'd fallen in love with the novel in 1974. It took him around 2 years to pull the rights away from Balaban and Quine, but he was determined. He managed to buy a 1.5-year option for The Last Unicorn in 1976. 1.5 years, wow. That's not a lot of time.
No, and he felt the pressure.
Not in this industry.
For sure. And with this option in hand, he pitched the film around Hollywood, and he had plenty of meetings, but once again, very little progress. He said, what I found out was something you're not really told about when you try to stick your toe in the film business, which is if they like the idea and you have the option, the biggest strategy is that they'll wait for the option to run out and then option it themselves because they know that you can't pour constant money into it. So he said, between the time that I was producing animated commercials in my studio, that's what I was finding. He said, I would meet with everybody, but you never hear back from them because they're waiting for the option to run out.
That sucks. God.
Yeah. So he had this option from this production company that he'd had on board and like just couldn't get traction. But proving just how much he believed in the project with only a couple weeks left until the option died, Walker purchased the rights himself. So outright bought the rights for the equivalent of about $200,000 in today's money. So Beagle got a nice payout and Walker kept bargaining with studios trying to get the film made.
I mean, hey, yeah, that works out for Beagle. I'll just take the cash.
Yeah, right. It worked out really well for Beagle.
You can go fight the good fight and try to get it made, but like...
To me, that sounds like pretty ideal as an author, you know? You get the payout for the option of the film, and then hopefully you see your work somewhere.
That's what I'm trying to do. That's all I want to do. I just want to publish books and get the options. Just sell the rights.
Yeah, that's the dream. The timing was better in the late 70s because the animated Lord of the Rings was about to premiere, and this is the one that Beagle had written the screenplay for, and this helped draw more buzz toward The Last Unicorn.
In 1978, Warner Brothers signed a development deal with Walker for a reported $25,000 per month, around $120,000 today. He said, I literally went from living in a lean-to in my brother's backyard to a gorgeous house in the hills in less than a month's time. Warner Brothers was behind Lord of the Rings, so if the film went big, the studio was hedging its bets to get a similar project on deck to follow it.
But as you might have guessed.
Yeah, it's what you do. That makes sense.
Right. You're trying to ride those waves of the business and whoever's like trusting you or believing you at the time or where the money is, like you follow the money, and that was the hope. But as you might have guessed, that didn't happen. And when Lord of the Rings did mediocre numbers, Warner Brothers completely dropped The Last Unicorn project. Things looked especially bleak at this time as the money from Warner Brothers quickly became debt to Warner Brothers. But Walker's incessant pitching paid off because the story had also caught the eye of Marble Arch, and they were interested in adapting it as a follow-up to their TV film, The Hobbit, that had premiered in 1977.
Okay, that was a question I had. I was going to say, didn't Rankin and Bass do The Lord of the Rings?
They did The Hobbit.
They did The Hobbit. Got it.
Which it's all kind of blurry. It's muddy. It was swirling around in that 60s and 70s animation culture. Everybody knew everybody. Nobody wanted to work with anybody. And it all looks the same to my 90s eyes for sure. But Marble Arch brought everyone together and a deal was made finally in mid-1979. So the two studios would produce The Last Unicorn for theaters, being Marble Arch and Rankin and Bass.
Wow. That's wild.
So it's happening.
I love their Christmas specials.
Well, yeah, sure.
I love them.
Who doesn't have some
Frosty
kind of special place in their heart?
We almost did Frosty the Snowman this past
Frosty, Rudolph. Yeah, we'll have opportunity to dive into some Rankin and Bass. But at this point, things are happening. Things are moving. Things are rolling. The movie's getting made. This should make everybody happy. There's only one problem. Neither Walker nor Beagle were fans of Rankin and Bass at all. And when I say not fans at all, I mean they've gone on the record many times to say that they basically hated everything Rankin and Bass had ever done.
So they just went with it because they were interested?
They went with it because they were interested, and Walker was desperate. After they got dropped from Warner Brothers, it's like, what were they going to do? They needed to pay down debt. Here we are now. Okay.
I feel like Beagle is someone who had been very familiar with the phrase beggars can't be choosers. I feel like get over it.
Yeah, but the thing that's funny to me following through this story is really it's Walker that's begging to get it made. And in my mind's eye, I don't know that it's right. I don't know that it's the accurate picture, but in my mind's eye, Beagle's just kind of sitting back like, I mean, it'd be cool, but I'm not holding my breath. Like he just was saying like he never really fully believed that it was going to happen.
Why wouldn't he go to like Disney?
I mean, why wouldn't probably he did. They pitched to everybody. It's just there wasn't interest. Yeah.
That happens in a lot of the movies that we talk about. That happened.
Mm-hmm. Where they're just like, somebody's going to make it, right? And then, someone does. But again, maybe not the someone that you hope.
That's just so crazy to me.
Walker said that he really couldn't stand their animation, and Beagle was even unhappier with the deal. I'll let you do the honors, Christian, of reading one of Beagle's more colorful quotes.
Yes. Wait, is this going to get me fired off the show? I hated everything Rankin and Bass had ever done. Everything. Didn't like what they'd done to Tolkien. I hated Frosty the Flippin' Snowman, let alone Rudolph the What's-It.
I read that and I was like, I want to like you, Beagle. I mean, hey, we all have our opinions.
Frosty the Flippin' Snowman, Rudolph the What's-It, the red-nosed What's-It.
In 2014, he recounted his feelings on the matter.
I remember screaming at Michael Chase Walker because I was horrified when he told me Rankin and Bass was going to be doing it. And I screamed, why don't you go all the way and sell it to Hanna-Barbera? And he said very solemnly, they were next. Damn, though. I mean, hey, they were not. I mean, I bet they
I found that
for it.
really especially funny because we've gotten into the history, or at least some of the history of Hanna-Barbera on the show. Was it Casper? I think like we dug deep into that.
I'm not sure. We've talked about them a lot. They definitely had a hand in a lot of things.
And honestly, like I understand, I guess, if you're like kind of thinking in a high fantasy way and then you turn around and it's Hanna-Barbera, they have a different reputation. But Hanna-Barbera colored my childhood and my dad's childhood. My dad growing up in the late 60s, early 70s.
No,
so
I
it's
think
like
they would have been a fine choice.
I think so too. But again, hindsight, 2020.
Better than Rankin and Bass. No, I love Rankin and Bass, but it's not a good fit for this.
Yeah.
I definitely would not ever go on record saying I hate what they've done.
No,
I love Rankin and Bass stuff.
Right, but it's just different. Like they're
but
different.
For me, it's nostalgic.
They're a different animal.
Here's the thing.
Right.
This guy's an adult in a time where he's not nostalgic for Rankin and Bass animation.
All he knows of, it's been like a decade over time.
Hanna-Barbera, he would be nostalgic for Hanna-Barbera or like Looney Tunes
maybe
or
a little
anything
more.
like that. I guess that's why he would have gone for Warner Brothers because didn't they do Looney Tunes? I can't remember.
Yeah. Warner Brothers, yeah.
Merry Melodies and all that stuff.
But again, it all got eaten up, cannibalized, but yeah.
You think he would have said them or Disney? I could see Hanna-Barbera, but definitely.
But it's like,
it's actually
even
making
if
way
he
more
had
sense
said
to me.
Disney, you can't just walk into Disney and say, hey, here's my movie, make it.
Yeah, but hey, they were pretty much in their dark ages era by this point. They were coming into it, so I think they would have been open to it. But still, though, that makes sense to me why he would not be a fan of Rankin and Bass because they weren't. In his day,
he doesn't have the benefit of
that old
40, 50, 60 years of nostalgia.
If this is the 70s, I mean, sure, they'd been around, but the stuff that we're nostalgic for, they were making when he was already an adult, I think.
Right. And that's another really important point to make. Exactly.
Guys.
That's a great way to put it. He was a grown adult when our classics of Rankin and Bass were coming out or being made.
Those claymation assholes? What?
Right. So he's like, what? This doesn't work at all.
Sense.
But it was funny to me that he was so loud about it. And not only was he so loud about it, but he didn't.
At this guy.
Yeah. He talked about screaming at his producer. Like in 2014, he said this stuff. So he wasn't ashamed. He wasn't
Frosty the Flippin' Snowman.
Rudolph the What's-It.
That's cracking me up.
Rudolph the What's-It reindeer.
We need to just cover those this year as like mini episodes, just so we can be like, in your face, Beagle. What kind of name is that?
Our generation liked
Beagle?
Rankin and Bass. But all wasn't lost with Rankin and Bass. Because in a move no one expected, they brought Beagle back in to write the screenplay. So his rights had already been, sold. He's divorced from this project as far as he's, as far
royalties.
as his writing.
Maybe
that's a whole other beast. But they brought Beagle back to write the screenplay. So he's being plugged back into this project that has been, sold off to an entity that he isn't a big fan of.
So now, but so he gets to write, he gets to contribute to that. But you think he would like take it as an opportunity to make it so good, the best thing ever, so that they could not ruin it in his eyes. You know what I mean? Like you'd think he would.
Well, his approach was interesting because when they hired him, he decided he would just cut down the screenplay to a pale imitation of his book, stating, I figured that that's the way they would go about things, so I might as well do it myself.
I was going to say that's exactly what the screenplay is. The movie is like snapshots of the book. It's snippets.
But Jules Bass asked him to stick closer to the original story than he even did in the first place.
Wow.
So he went back again and created something that was closer to the novel.
That's wild because, the movie, it reads like you're just getting glimpses into the book. Like all the dialogue straight from the book.
From the book? Mm-hmm. Wow. And I feel like I might have liked it better in a novel than I did seeing it on screen.
Because it's also not a comprehensive estimate either. It's like, it's literally taking the highlights from every conversation and just like copying and pasting.
And maybe that's part of why it feels a little bit disjointed to me, because I can tell that there are gaps.
There are massive gaps, not even just in the conversations, but also in the scenes. The sequences alone are missing giant, multiple chapters worth of context and story and development, plot
and
development.
I mean, you have to do that for a film. But
it was stripped down to the bones. They didn't even try. What they did instead was they filled it with musical numbers and a bunch of cut sequences that made no goddamn sense.
Or they were slower than they needed to be.
So slow. I could not believe. We'll talk about it, but the timing, the pacing of the movie was horrible.
Don't go all Beagle on it.
Nah.
Might as well have been Hanna-Barbera.
Oh, Jesus. I have a lot of feelings.
But as they continue to work together, he did say that Rankin and Bass were surprisingly easy to work with. He said they respected the material, and he said they did better with it than really anything of theirs I had ever seen.
Narcissist.
Beagle wasn't involved with the film after the script was finished, but the production still stuck pretty closely to his words.
It was better than all their other stuff because it was mine.
Because it was mine.
But at the same time.
Yeah, see, I went back and forth. I didn't know how to feel about this guy. I want to like him. He is still hanging out, and he talks a lot about The Last Unicorn. It's like, because it's beloved, the book, mostly I think, but also the film. So he still talks about it a lot. And
one of our most requested movie nights.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about who he is in relation to what this is, except for the fact that he had a very impressive clarity about what he wanted to say, and he was very diligent in saying that thing.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, he was obsessed with this concept.
Obsessed. You have to say
for
obsessed.
His entire life. Mm-hmm. And then he finally writes it, and, it takes a pound of flesh for him to get it done. Mm-hmm. But it's done, and it's probably the best thing he's ever written. He probably ever will write. Mm-hmm. It's a masterpiece, and it's given to an animation studio that he doesn't respect. Respect. And he's like, but do you not see the potential of what it could be? Mm-hmm. Do you not get it?
But the
why
thing
are we
that
doing this?
part of that to me is interesting. I can see that part of it, but what's interesting to me is that he decided to cut it off at the knees himself.
Yeah.
For their sake. I'll dumb it down for you. Is what it feels like. And if he hadn't done that to begin with, maybe it would have turned out better overall, because instead of cutting it down and then building it back up, he could have just started with what this is my ideal, and then let Rankin and Bass tell him no.
One of the whole points of the book is not accepting your fate, but looking at fate and saying, I know what to do with this. Like, I'm going to do the best I can with this, because it's going to happen this way, but I can also affect, the
Which
the intensity.
makes his approach to it pretty ironic.
Yeah, I don't know. Why wouldn't he just look at this as an opportunity going, okay, well, there's nothing I can do about what's going to happen here. This is going to happen whether I like it or not. But
right. And whether I'm involved or not. So, hey, they want me to be part of it. And I don't know if it was the kind of thing where he wished maybe that he could just close his eyes and like hold his nose and like ignore that it was actually happening in the first place. Like, I don't know.
He admitted defeat in the face of the bull.
Maybe too soon. It's important to remember that, like we've seen with stuff like Little Nemo, and I'm sure we'll get into heavier when we do cover more Rankin and Bass eventually, Rankin and Bass produced animation, but they themselves weren't really outfitted to be an animation studio. And that's something that I didn't fully understand until recent times. Because as a kid, you're thinking, like, that association is Rankin and Bass. You think of claymation, like you're imagining a studio like Disney that has artists sitting at storyboards doing the thing. And that's not exactly how it went down. Animation Obsessive said its contributions usually ended at concept work, scripts, voices, music, and general oversight, and the actual animation always went to Japan, where Rankin and Bass outsourced to a network of studio partners.
Yeah. So they were like a production studio.
That then they said, you guys
actual
animate it. Because, I mean, it's labor intensive. Like, the animation efforts, and especially at that time, it is so labor. It still is now, but it's so labor intensive. And it makes sense that a smaller studio like that couldn't afford to staff a full animation studio, especially with, like, we think of this business like the ebbs and the flows, like to keep a staff on staff of animation like talent is very hard to do, because you have to have a steady stream of projects, and those projects have to be doing well. And so you have a steady stream of capital and income, and that it's almost impossible to do. I mean, even for Disney, it was like you just said, they were in their dark ages at this time, almost closing their doors. Like, it is almost impossible to roll through that and ride those waves.
They did very similar things,
Rankin and Bass, and they're not the only ones, but they're some of the first and some of the most consistent to partner with studios in other places and outsource like the animation. And I have a lot of thoughts on that, have a lot of feelings on that, but it is the way of capitalism. It's the way of the Western world often. I don't necessarily agree with it. I feel like it can be exploitative in a lot of different ways and fashions, but at this time, it really was one of the only ways to get things animated. If you weren't a Disney.
I think similar things still happen today, if not hand-drawn animation, although I'm sure it does. But like CGI often gets outsourced to like India.
Yeah,
Bollywood,
I mean, even the really big teams, like the huge movies like Marvel, like they have like, groups that work stateside, but then they also do have groups that are overseas. Like, it's just, it's kind of the way of the business. But this is when that was being built, that infrastructure was being built then. And that's kind of what we rely on today.
So, but all their stuff looks the same. Is that because they had the same like storyboard artists and like concept artists and such?
Yeah, I think that the concepts were, a lot of them, their own, but they also worked with the same studio in a lot of cases. Tokyo's Topcraft, which had done Frosty and Return of the King and The Hobbit for Rankin and Bass, was put in charge of The Last Unicorn. Topcraft received a scratch track and Beagle screenplay, plus initial sketches by artist Lester Abrams. But even the storyboarding, as researcher Makoto Kuroda has discovered, was done in Japan. So they even storyboarded it there.
Okay, fun.
Animation Obsessive dug into the Japanese side of the production more than any other source I could find, so I don't mind quoting their summary, and I hope that they wouldn't either.
In those days, Topcraft's foreign cash gave it higher budgets than most of the surrounding industry. Documents from the studio, unearthed by Kuroda, revealed that The Hobbit used 380 different colors, compared to the 80 to 130 then typical in anime. A half-hour anime episode might take 4,500 frames of animation, but The Hobbit used around 40,000. Stats for The Last Unicorn were similar: 75,000 drawings, 260 colors, and the static tome shots seen in the anime were avoided as much as possible.
It's so interesting to me, like the differences between like traditional Japanese animation and like anime as we know it and what they were doing here, because there is like that Rankin and Bass, like the colors, the style is different, but you can still feel that like Japanese animated like foundation underneath. I don't know why or how that is, but you totally can. It is apparent to me. Yeah. And culturally,
there is like Western versus Eastern like artistry. It's insane.
Yeah, there's a lot of like Eastern like flow of movement. You know, like the motion in it feels more like Eastern style art.
It does,
According to animator Hidekazu Ohara, who worked on The Last Unicorn, Topcraft prided itself on its quality. There was a certain sense among the staff that its work outshone the competition in Japan. Part of that assurance came from a legendary artist named Sugayuki Kubo, who was a guiding force at Topcraft and on The Last Unicorn. So really, Topcraft was at the top of their game in Japan.
Top of their craft,
due in large part to all of the Western money that was coming in for these projects. So it was beneficial for the industry in Japan to have that like influx of like cash and like prospective talent. All of the above.
As one American commentator has said, Kubo had a profound impact on the look and the feel of the entire thing. He co-storyboarded the film with technical director Katsuhisa Yamada and co-designed the characters with Lester Abrams. Kubo was an ace from 60s animation. He's still active today and widely respected in the industry.
We have the big names in animation that we recognize in America, and it seems like this was like Japan's answer to that. Kubo was like the guy. He was the guy you call.
Wow, that's awesome.
After Topcraft translated the script and developed the designs for the characters in the world and created the storyboard, its work was sent to America for corrections and additions. There was an additional storyboarder on the American side named Don Duga, who did kind of that in-between work. When the storyboards came in from Japan, he was like kind of translating them, adjusting them, modifying them for Rankin and Bass.
Nice, okay.
Topcraft storyboards became the basis for the voice recordings, which were overseen in New York by Jules Bass, and then the music, sound, and voice tracks went back to Japan alongside more changes and requests. And it was standard for Arthur Rankin to visit Japan after this step before they actually began animating. So they would get everything together in America, and then Rankin would go over there and say, here's all our stuff. What do you think?
According to Topcraft, one of the main themes of the production was expressive acting in the character animation, leading the studio to bring in live actors as reference. Another focus was the impact of each overall shot, the design, the lighting, the layouts, the effects. So, I mean, that's pretty common now, too. Almost everything has a live actor acting out the performance of what will then be animated.
A lot of things do. Disney had, the live, like there are like older Disney videos of the princesses. They had certain actresses coming in for the princess, like motion.
Right, I just keep thinking, I keep seeing that same video from The Little Mermaid because she was one of the writers for Casper or something like that. She was, I forget her name, but I've seen that video now on social media multiple times of her specifically, and then like the animation, side-by-side animation comparison of her. It's pretty cool.
It's really cool. I wish that I could draw like that, just to be able to look at something in life. And like, I mean, it takes years of practice and it's a skill, obviously, but some people have it and I don't have whatever the starting point is. I don't even have that much.
Yeah, no. What I want to be is the person acting out the roles and that is then animated.
And then you are the animated character.
A life dream, life goal.
The art of Kay Nielsen influenced the forest backgrounds at the start, and Kuroda claims that Topcraft invested 2 million yen into an art book to study Nielsen's work. The studio also created a clay model of King Hagrid's castle and took pictures of it under different colors of light, using them again as reference. Colored lights and lighting effects in general were seen by Topcraft as crucial to the film's style. They said one trick was to put small holes in the art and shine colored light from below.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm just like imagining that studio and to play with light and shadow and color. Like you can see that on screen. Like even if I'm not personally like the biggest fan of this movie, as we will discuss, as we will get to, you can see on screen the way that the layers and structure of it was so thoughtful.
I think it's beautifully animated. I don't love the execution of the film, but I think it looks amazing.
Yeah.
At least in a still frame capacity.
And I haven't really seen, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I haven't really heard of like this specific method, because that like the clay model, but the lights and like the layers of light in space and how that's going to influence like an artistic approach.
That sounds pretty revolutionary in this time for sure. I haven't heard of that since. It doesn't sound like anything that I'm familiar with. Another unusual step for Japan was that the artist had to time each shot based on the voices and the music. This made it so drastic editing cannot be done like in domestic animation, wrote director Katsuhisa Yamada. It was closer to the Disney style, but more restrictive, since the animation needed to sync with sound effects as well. Yeah, wait, so they already had the audio?
Right, yes, correct. They had the audio.
And they had to animate to that
to
versus
the audio
animating it and expecting the voice actors to voice based on the animation.
And in some cases, right, and in some cases you can even like, get somebody in a studio to like clean something up if it doesn't match exactly or whatever. Like they didn't have that option. Here are the voice tracks. You got to make it time. You got to time it to that.
The only thing
sound
that
effects
makes
too.
sense to me is the voices. I can't imagine having to allow for the music. How was the music written before the animation was done? How were the sound effects done before the animation was done? That's crazy to me.
Yeah,
the voices I get. Animating to voice, yes, every time. But the other stuff, no, that comes later. That's post-production.
It was all timed out, yeah, and they
That's
kind
wild.
of presented it to them all at once, is what it sounds like to me.
That's insane. Yeah, that sounds like that'd be hard for anybody.
Any Darklings who are animation fans in general might already be very familiar with Topcraft's story, because the studio gained a reputation from The Last Unicorn, which led to its hiring by Hayao Miyazaki to work on Nausicaa, Valley of the Wind. And then after that project, several of the studio's core members, including President Toru Hara, eventually went on to form Studio Ghibli. That was the connection that I was waiting this whole time to find, because I was like, I feel like I know that that's in there somewhere. I can see it. I can feel it. Yeah. I can taste it. Like it's there, but I didn't know where it was. And then I was reading about Topcraft and I was like, okay, it's Japanese animation. So that might be close enough to like, but I was like, this just
surely
feels
there's some crossover,
like a Ghibli thing. And yeah, sure enough, really all of these like heroes of Japanese animation were in the pipeline of what would become Studio Ghibli. Yeah,
which of course we learned all about the actual formation of that in our coverage of Little Nemo Adventures in Slumberland, because that
we're really getting to a point here where we have so much overlapping research.
We know, I wouldn't say almost as much about Japanese animation, but we know a lot about Japanese animation.
I sure don't. Yeah, you did a ton of that research, but they finished production in September of 1981, much cheaper than your average animated feature with all of the outsourced labor, and Rankin and Bass got to work finalizing for distribution. Walker said that he assumed that this step would be easy. Spoiler, it never is. Distribution is one of the hardest steps in film unless you are locked into like a pipeline of like studio support.
Yeah, pre-sale deals.
They were, but Universal, who was set as the distributor, was reportedly less than enthusiastic about the final film. The Last Unicorn was dropped from Universal, and there weren't many fallbacks in Hollywood that were still taking Walker's calls, since he had been knocking on doors for the better part of a decade. Beagle and Walker throughout these interviews joked about like the curse of The Last Unicorn, just all of these kind of failed attempts. And this was kind of the hand reaching up from the grave of that curse, because Rankin and Bass then got stuck with a tiny low budget distributor from Utah. So it was like Rankin and Bass did it, and we're going to get a tiny little like distribution deal. And that's why it was in so few theaters. It was only in 600 theaters.
That's crazy.
But as we know, the film still found its fans over time, many of whom have been in our email inbox.
Yeah, thanks to the, home video deals.
Yep. Home videos. Us kids in the 80s and 90s that saved just a ton of animated stuff from this era. We really swooped in with our captive little brains and saved a lot of different productions.
We were primed and ready.
When Rankin and Bass gave Beagle a private screening of The Last Unicorn in the early 80s, Beagle said, I didn't know how to react. I was so braced for the worst that I couldn't take in the fact that it was actually a good film. It took several viewings before it finally hit me that they had absolutely transcended themselves.
Hey, well, I mean,
you transcended yourselves. It's redeeming, but it's like underhanded, you know? It's like, I expected the worst of you, and it took me a really long time to realize and admit that this is better than your worst.
I don't know. It sounds like his quotes were all coming from after he watched the movie. So for him to willingly say things like, yeah, I was pissed off. I hated this idea. I was screaming at
you
my
had to have come around to it
all this
to some degree.
But hey, you know, it turned out okay.
Yeah.
Beagle has since come to the feel that the film is actually a good deal more than I had originally credited. And he went on to say, there is some lovely design work. The Japanese artists who did the concepts and coloring were very good. And the voice actors do a superb job in bringing my characters to life.
That's one thing that I think he was really proud of is the voice cast, which we are just about to get to. But before we do, I have to take a minute to appreciate the music, which was unsurprisingly one of my favorite parts.
My least favorite part of the whole thing.
And it always is.
I could have taken the movie without any of the music.
And see, I was like, I would just sit and listen to music. That'd be fine with me. I'd prefer that.
That's so crazy how we're so opposite on that every single time.
Every time.
Lose the music. I want this. Okay. I want this book to be a very serious live action. I want a live action, probably a not a limited series. Yeah.
Nowadays, it could probably happen. That was something that Beagle said repeatedly, was like animation seemed like the only way to like achieve this.
No.
Which, I mean,
this needs to be live action.
Thinking about it at the time, right? That's how they were thinking of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Like, animation's the only way to get there.
Yeah.
And
when you talk about fantasy at the time, it's animation. But now they can do so much more.
Everything caught up. The tech caught up. And now live action can do.
But this is, I have so much more to say about it. I need a self-aware, existential, depressing, but lighthearted live action version of this.
Our favorite genre of anything.
Lighthearted in the sense that it's self-aware, it's self-deprecating. I need a self-deprecating live action
limited series. Mm-hmm. I'd love that. I'd be down. I don't know what it was, but it didn't hit for me, but I think it could. I believe that it could. I believe in the potential of the thing for sure. But again, what did hit for me was the music. The score and the songs were composed and arranged by singer-songwriter Jimmy Webb, who did a lot of collaborative work with artists like Fifth Dimension, The Supremes, Glenn Campbell, and more. And they were performed by the group America and the London Symphony Orchestra and recorded in Wembley, England.
Wait, America recorded
in England?
In England?
Sure did.
Blasphemy.
Man. Yeah, the group called America, like it had this like very 70s like
don't tell the
Mamas and the Papas kind of
it.
Sort of not really like that. There's just this like 70s like Americana folk sound, and folksy. I love that sound, so I was pleased with the music for that reason. Like it speaks to me, and I personally like the idea of this fantasy that's blending Americana, like an Americana fantasy. That's my vibe. That reminds me of, I watched it last year, maybe the year before, Odessa. Did you watch it? It was Sadie Sink.
No,
and
I didn't
it's
watch
this
that.
Like it's like a almost like a cyberpunk, like modern steampunk, where she's a rambler in like a dystopian future, and she's got all this, like there's all these fantasy elements, but it's like hyper modern. Okay, and nice. I like that idea. I like that vibe where you're bringing some like old folk Americana to something that's like distant future. Yeah. I think that's cool. I mean, this isn't like that, but Americana and fantasy, the blending of that, something about that is really interesting.
Well,
to
it's
me,
very, it's very anachronistic. In a pleasant way, but for me it feels the same way that like The Rescuers, how the music was sort of like
you hated that and I loved it.
The story. If you're gonna do music, just let it be from the heart of the characters. Stop trying to narrate the thing with your songs.
I mean, I think you're spot on.
Let the story breathe and tell the story like better than you did. You don't need the music, don't need the music.
One or the other.
Don't tell me how to feel about the movie I'm watching, by the music.
By the music. Yeah, you hated that in The Rescuers, and I think you're spot on with that comparison because it's the same era. You know, it's the same era of creating and of understanding what an animated musical is. And yeah, they were feeling it out. Like they were the ones kind of writing that blueprint.
But it wasn't a musical until like they were well past halfway through this movie before it became a musical.
Like there were definitely pauses for song.
In the first half?
Like one at least.
I don't think there were.
I remember liking the way that maybe I'm thinking of the opening credits.
You're just thinking of the opening credits.
Maybe. But I mean, I have to go back to the drawing board completely and watch it again. I watched most of it today.
I mean, we'll get into it, you know, pretty deeply. Part two.
So.
But,
yeah, I watched it last year and then I put it on like a shelf in my mind and I was like, I can't go there yet. And so having 2 viewings now, I'm like easing into what this actually is. Especially and how much it hurts me.
You have to watch this. It's great. And you were like, but it's not.
Yeah,
but it's not.
The thing is, like, I just have different taste. I had a different.
I don't think anybody wanted us to cover. No, The Rescuers is great. I don't think anybody wanted us to cover this movie because it's a good movie. I don't think that was one.
I think there are some people that really love Darklings. Sound off, weigh in, email. You gotta let us know.
And that's fine if you think it's a good movie. I'm not saying you can't think that. I'm just saying, I don't think that's why people were like, "Hey, cover this." You'll love it.
I want to be really clear.
Cover it. It's done.
Sure. Yeah, we did this with Nemo as well. Little Nemo, like not Finding, but Little. I want to be really clear that just because we like our personal taste doesn't align, like we can see that we're like, and I talked about it with Power Rangers like a ton because I want it to be very clear that I want to find merit in things that people pour their life into. They pour their soul into these things. It's art. Yeah. It may not have been art for me, but I'm really passionate about finding the merit in things anyway. And so that I can recognize this wasn't like my cup of tea. It should have been on paper. Like, I think I even say that maybe in these notes, like on paper, it should have been something that really interested me, but something didn't click, something didn't connect. And like, that's okay because I know that it did for other people. And you may be right in that the majority may be like, I remember this. The nostalgia is the driving factor here. So I'd like to hear genuinely from Darklings, like, what do you think? How do you feel? Give it to us. All Music said how they felt about the music in a review. They called it an appropriately somber and sentimental blend of fairy tale motifs and dark operatic cues.
All right. Yeah.
So I think it's interesting because it's like fairy tale motifs, operatic cues, like by the band America in like a clearly very like underscored by like a soul 70s
by the band America
thread. So any melting pot that mixes those things up is something that I would like to consume.
Yeah, well, I mean, because it's the band America, they're going to be doing the halftime show next year. The NFL halftime.
Right.
Super Bowl halftime show.
Band America from the 70s.
Because we're going to need the most something American deeply thing American. Possible. Deeply white Americana.
God, the meme that I saw circulating earlier was like, yeah, people are saying, how dare they? You know, they should have a U.S. citizen be the halftime show, whatever. And then it's like Rihanna. Hang on, I'm gonna list it off.
Is he not though? Like, is he not? He's
no,
Puerto
he
Rico.
Is an American citizen. Bad Bunny is American citizen. He's Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
Rihanna, not a U.S. citizen. Shakira, not a U.S. citizen. Coldplay, the Who, Rolling Stones, Paul McCartney, U2, The Weeknd, none of whom were U.S. citizens. But
I know
the one that they decide to shit on is Bad Bunny, one of the most successful Latin pop artists to ever
because it became a political thing. It's such bullshit. Talking
everything like, is political.
Yeah, everything.
But it shouldn't be political like this.
No, it's just music. Like, get over yourselves. And then the fact that they're like commenting on how inappropriate the dancing was. I'm like, have you ever seen
a Super Bowl halftime show? That's the thing that people like conservative.
We've literally seen
been
tits.
Conservative outcry, right?
We've seen tits in the halftime.
Conservative outcry about the dancing in the Super Bowl and the dancing at every award show for like the last 30 to 40 years. That's nothing new. Yeah. It's more the hatred of cultures that aren't like gross, boring white America.
It's just people who feel like they finally have a voice, which is so sad.
They're emboldened. They're empowered.
They're emboldened.
Yeah. Tragic on all accounts. First up, we have Mia Farrow playing the unicorn / Lady Almathea. Her career, of course, spans decades from Rosemary's Baby to the recent TV show The Watcher. She is incredibly talented, not because, as many might have you believe, but in spite of her long-term relationship with Woody Allen, who she would have met right around the time that she was working on this film.
No way. Wow.
With the ongoing Epstein revelations, I would encourage everyone to go back and watch the Allen v. Farrow documentary from 2021, because that just broke my brain in a million ways about Hollywood and everything else. But Mia Farrow has been through so much, and she is so talented. And a lot of people, I feel like it's one of those situations where people feel like she got opportunities because of her relationship with Woody Allen, and that is gross to me, especially considering the like nuances of their relationship. So I would encourage you to watch the documentary.
Yeah. Well, if that was true, his daughter would have had a lot of opportunities as well.
Right.
Just saying.
But I did want to point out that the character Lady Almathea's name comes from Greek mythology. Oh. When young Zeus was hidden from his father, the brutal Kronos, he was fed from the milk of a goat named Almathea. And many years later, after Zeus finally defeated Kronos and established himself as the new king of Olympus, he rewarded the goat who fed him by turning one of her horns into the famous Horn of Abundance. Cornucopia.
I was going to say cornucopia.
Yeah, that's what I think.
The unicornicopia?
The unicornicopia.
That's awesome.
The unicornicopia comes from this goat, that was like the life force of Zeus. So
yeah, man,
Almathea, pretty good. Badass. Yeah, really far-reaching. Like
I had
back
no
into the
idea.
depths of Greek mythology.
I had no idea that Zeus had a dad.
Zeus had a dad.
Kronos. I know the name Kronos. I know him as a god. I just didn't know that was Does Kronos have a father? His dad. How many generations of
it's turtles
gods?
All the way down. It's Kronos.
Apparently.
It's Zeus.
Unicorns all the way down.
Unicorns all the way down.
I mean, I will point out that Amalthea was not her name, but it was just an off-the-cuff name that the wizard, the magician, Schmendrick gave her as a cover-up. Because he literally was like,
which makes sense that a magician would kind of just reach back into mythology.
What is her name?
And
Amalthea.
give a name.
Yeah,
I like
exactly.
That. Okay.
Yeah. No, that wasn't her name. Is just the unicorn. She doesn't have a name. Okay. There cannot be names good enough for unicorns.
Makes sense.
No name is enough.
Any name would be below them.
That's right. The names they have cannot be spoken.
A relatively early career, Alan Arkin plays Schmendrick, the magician. You would know him from stuff like Little Miss Sunshine, Get Smart, Argo, Edward Scissorhands, plenty more. Yeah. And no offense to Alan at all, but Beagle commented that he was a bit disappointed by the way that Arkin approached the character because it seemed too flat.
You know who I would cast in a live action?
As Schmendrick. Who's your live action Schmendrick?
I need to look up his name because I don't know his name, but
you just see his face in your mind's eye.
The reason for that is because a man does not have a name.
A man does not have a name.
That guy, that actor.
Arya.
Yeah. The guy from Game of Thrones and also from Stranger Things.
That's him? Interesting.
Let me see.
I could see that.
Hold on.
I don't know. I see him as too cunning. Like he's too quick.
So the character is what, Jaqen?
Yeah.
Hagar? Tom Lashki Kika? He's German. I have no idea. Tom. You know Tom from Game of Thrones?
Wallachia.
Or
Lashia. Maybe the W is silent.
Yeah, who knows? That guy.
The faceless man.
But see,
yeah, like I said, I see him as too cunning, but I see him as too cunning because he played the faceless
that's
man.
only because of the book. He's very different in the novel. He's not the animated version of him is very different from the book.
Schmendrick, you mean?
Schmendrick, yes.
So Schmendrick is
much more sly
in the book,
except in the book, yes.
Okay,
but then his bumbling nature is revealed after
it's like
after a faction,
deep seated within him.
Yeah, he puts on airs for quite a while.
Which that was kind of the idea, I think, behind his name. He was named to be like Shlemiel, Shlemiel, like Yiddish.
Yeah,
I think that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
Jeff Bridges plays Prince Lear, King Haggard's adopted son, who, spoiler, falls in love with Lady Almathea.
That voice does not fit that character.
I agree.
Not at all.
Pretty much anybody that I've talked to about this movie in the last several weeks that I've been working on this, if I've said the words Jeff Bridges, they're like, who? And then I say who he played. And everybody's like, what? Mm-hmm. But yeah, he sure did. But the main thing that I think of when I think of Jeff Bridges is Tron, which he had just finished when he was working on The Last Unicorn. But those older than I am might make fun of my list that I cherry picked, from IMDb like we do. But he's also got The Big Lebowski, Seabiscuit, True Grit, Stick It, Surf's Up, Iron Man, etc., etc. Jules Bass revealed that Jeff Bridges called him out of the blue and volunteered to do this movie for free because the novel was one of his favorite books.
What had he done before this?
And he also recommended Jimmy Webb for the soundtrack.
Okay, nice. But
that was his buddy.
What did he do before this that made him a known quantity?
He had just finished doing Tron.
Okay, all right. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Not a good movie. I don't understand.
I think it's more the concept when it comes to Tron. The Troncept, if you will.
Nice. That was good.
Tammy Grimes.
Impressed.
God. And then I ruined it by just butchering the next thing I was going to say. I'm never that smooth. Real schmendrick about it.
We never are.
Tammy Grimes voices Molly Grew, who joined Schmendrick and the Unicorn, and she had a ton of TV credits through the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And while explaining that there was no particular reason that he didn't write a detailed background for Molly Grew's character, Beagle said that he has always been grateful to Grimes because she brought such vocal life to the character that she covered things that he felt like he didn't, even in the novelization. Or the novel,
I think she's very well fleshed out in the book. She's one of my favorite characters. She's one of the main characters, but I think she has the most depth. She's the most.
She has a lot of perspective. Her getting upset about why didn't you come to me sooner? She sees things from a bird's eye view. She's looking at life and all of it differently than the other characters are.
She has a knowledge of things that no one else has.
Right.
It's not superficial like everyone else. Hers is, she runs, her waters run deep. And she's, what am I thinking of? She's got a lot of gumption. She's not afraid to say the thing that everybody else is thinking.
Yeah. Which I really like in a character.
The one thing that's going to piss off the man who's running the show, she's going to say it and undermine him.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Hats off to Molly Grew and to Tammy Grimes.
Love Molly Grew.
Robert Klein plays the butterfly. I'm sure there are a million opinions that we could share about the butterfly, but he had a similarly extensive list of credits, including our staples like Twilight Zone, Family Ties, Murder, She Wrote, Law and Order, Frasier, Suits, etc., all the way up to I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson.
Oh, nice.
Which is the first time I think we've ever mentioned I Think You Should Leave on the show. I think that's the only crossover we've ever had.
No other reason to mention that show. We just mentioned the Kids in the Hall last episode. That's the first time we mentioned that, I think.
The butterfly, I know we will get to it, but such an interesting character to me. It's is this trying to be the genie 9 years before the genie was the genie?
It's trying to be the caterpillar from Alice in Wonderland.
The caterpillar, yeah. And
but
also
yes,
kind
I
of a
will be reading lengths of text from the book from the butterfly. Yes, or you will actually.
Okay, fair. I'm game. I'm ready. But it's
both of us. We'll
the whole character is that the Cheshire Cat, the idea of
the Cheshire Cat.
You and your questions. I won't be taking any. You're going to ask me your questions, and I'm going to just wax poetic and muse about them, and I'm never really going to give you what you're looking for.
We have the caterpillar, but we also have the Cheshire Cat in the actual Cat in the Castle later.
Yes. I either really like these kind of characters or I really don't.
They have to be done right.
Mm-hmm.
There actually is a correct way to do this.
Yeah.
I think
Genie, Robin Williams. To me, that's the only correct way to do this is if Robin Williams does it.
I mean, I think that the caterpillar from Alice in Wonderland, yes. I think the butterfly from The Last Unicorn, yes. The Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland, yes. Mm-hmm. The cat from The Last Unicorn, I take umbrage.
You're going to draw a line? That's your line.
Yep.
And I don't disagree. But
I'm pissed off about this cat.
We have so much to say.
Makes no sense to me.
But I was just speaking of Murder, She Wrote, and that leads me to Angela Lansbury, who voiced Mommy Fortuna in her first cinematic voice role. And I also think this
Lansbury.
is her first time on the Pretty Dark airwaves, maybe. I'm not certain, but
feel
I'm
like
sure
you said her name.
I feel like we would have had to, but I'm sure we will have plenty of other chances to discuss her legacy. A brief list includes like Bed Knobs and Broomsticks, Beauty and the Beast, Murder, She Wrote, Anastasia, and more. And most of those titles we have intentions to cover at some point.
We also have a lot more to say about Mommy Fortuna.
So much more to say.
So much to say.
That character rocked my world.
Wicked, but self-aware as
yeah.
Man.
What a character. Like those were the scenes that definitely were the most engaging to me.
She was the first character I was like reading the book. I was cued into like, oh, this is an existential, like philosophical novel.
Right.
There's way more to this than I ever expected. Like
that's
she was
the road sign that tells you where you're going.
Yes, she told me everything I needed to know about this book, and then I was pumped to read the rest of it.
Yeah.
Until then, I was unsure. But at that point, the Midnight Circus, I was like,
the Midnight Circus, which is very similar to like a We're Back sort of a Circus of Fear.
I was going to say, yeah, it's a We're Back kind of thing. Yep.
And I can't help but think that some of the creators of We're Back had at least been exposed to this film.
Must have been.
We have another Lord of the Rings connection with Christopher Lee playing King Hagrid. He's best known as Saruman and Count Dooku. Beagle described Lee as the last of the great 20th century actors and either the most literate or second most literate performer I've ever met. Beagle was very specific about that.
Who's the most literate?
Right? He didn't specify. If you're gonna say or second most literate, you have to say second most literate behind Shakespeare. Like you have to
Michael Gambit or something like that.
Yeah. God.
Yeah, that I mean I wonder how Beagle felt when Christopher Lee ended up in the live action Lord of the Rings down the road. Like if he was like, oh yeah,
I predicted this.
That had to be like a
string of fate that's also tied to me.
Yeah, just like a whirlwind, like, whoa, moment.
Whenever Lee came into the studio to work, he brought his own copy of the novel where he had taken note of lines that he believed shouldn't be omitted.
Yes.
And Lee, who was fluent in German, also voiced Hagrid in the German dub of the film.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's
Lee took this
awesome.
very seriously.
Why wouldn't you?
The film actually did really well in Germany, maybe better in Germany than in the US, where it managed to outgross even Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. It had like a big premiere in this big ballroom with all these big names in German film, and everybody just loved it. And there were toys and records, and like they had big posters saying the unicorn is coming on the walls of all the buildings around Munich, Germany. They were like, yes, we like this. We societally, culturally have adopted this as our movie.
We're very sorry for all the damage we've done.
Unicorns.
We embrace it.
How about a unicorn?
The American unicorn is great. We love her.
The Japanese American unicorn.
Yeah. Well, we were already fans of Japan. But now we're also embracing the American Western culture.
And yes, unicorn times.
We will gladly accept your beauties and your beasts. Mm-hmm. We will take your candlestick men and your clock-making talking people.
Yep. Thank you.
They go
Thank
through
you
the
to
clock.
the ambassador of Germany for that statement.
Thank you, and Wiener Schnitzel.
Oh my God.
Spindle Shanks.
Keenan Wynn
and
as
Schmendrick
Captain.
Wizards. You may continue.
Keenan Wynn played Captain Cully, the leader of a group of bandits, as well as the Harpy Seleno. Another one of those faces that's been everywhere, like throughout films in the 40s, mainly 40s, 50s, and would probably be a lot more recognizable to folks that are slightly older than we are. But just, again, a ton of credits. Renee Auberjonois plays the skull that guards the clock and serves as an entryway into the Red Bull's lair. I think we talked about Renee either during Cats Don't Dance or maybe Little Nemo.
We
or maybe
definitely
both.
did, I think first during Little Nemo.
Beagle praised Renee's performance, saying that he could have played any role in that movie and I would have been happy. He's that talented. So Beagle really liked Renee, although Orson Welles was considered to be the voice of the skull.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know either. I like Renee. I don't think Orson Welles would have done a good job. Renee did a lot of stuff, though.
Mm-hmm.
I went back through to see, because I knew the name. I was like, Operation what? We've totally we've mentioned it. And I went back through, that's when I saw Little Nemo, but I forgot that he did so many other things.
So much.
Throughout his career. Like, it's wild.
That's
extensive list of credits.
I feel like it's kind of rare at this point, even that we mention somebody for a third time, you know, if it's not like in like Courage, you know, where they had the same recurring like guest voice actors. But yeah, the skull.
The talking skull.
I feel like a talking skull would have good insight. You know, like I would probably want to listen to one if I ever
ever met a skull that talked for real? Yeah, you better believe I listened to every word I had to say. Every goddamn last word that came out of that thing's mouth. I'm listening to it. I'd never leave its side, ever.
Last but not least, we have Paul Frees, who played Maybrook, King Hagrid's court magician. But Frees also voiced the cat that gives hints to finding the Red Bull.
That damn cat.
The rather... how do I put this delicately? Feeling like Michael Scott over here, but the tree who falls in love with Mendrick.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts.
Don Messick and Nellie Bellflower have widely been miscredited in the latter two roles. But Bellflower's character never made it into the final cut of the film. It was just like they got allocated that way, and that wasn't the case. But the miscredits were confirmed on a discussion of the film on the Blu-ray. So I'm setting the record straight here on That's Pretty Dark. Now we know. If you ever wanted to know, Paul Frees was all of these characters. All of maybe the most eccentric characters in a film with almost exclusively eccentric characters.
Yeah.
I would say.
He should be proud.
Yeah. And that's the cast. I do have one more note. I wanted to talk about it. I'm not sure of all the details. And I know, like, you know, we've done it where we talk through, like, okay, there's this corporation that eats this corporation. It's just kind of, like, tough to follow sometimes.
Sure.
But for all that we can say about Beagle, he has been sort of wronged throughout the life of this IP, you know, for this existing. There were definitely different deals made and several different layers of things that were supposed to lead to Beagle getting like the equivalent of royalties, even if that's not legally the thing. Like, he's supposed to be paid out to some extent when these properties change hands.
Right.
And in 2003, there were these different companies that were warring about, like, they earned a bunch of revenue from DVD and cable TV sales of the movie. And then during that period, Beagle hadn't received like any of his contractual share of the income, which included 5% of the net profits from all revenues of the movie and 5% of the gross revenues from all related merchandising. And then $20,000 for any and every sequel or remake, and like different fees for television adaptations or spinoffs. Like, it was very detailed, like what Beagle was supposed to be owed as this property continued. And I mean, kind of cool that he like negotiated that and struck that and maintained that, or attempted to.
5% of all that is a lot.
It's a ton. And he was not being paid, right? It would have been.
Wow.
But negotiations with this company over the issue, like, there just wasn't any movement, any traction, but there was a public campaign of support, which was launched on Beagle's behalf by the Kalyn Press in August 2005. And I don't know the exact resolution, but I do think that moved the needle on him getting what was due. I think it's cool anytime you can see an author that has like such deep ties to the material, however we feel about the material or however we feel about the author, like to say this was his story, it was like in his heart and soul, and to be like fairly and rightfully like compensated for that story that has been so successful that came from you. And that's a rarity in like today's, the way that the business works. I feel like that's a rarity.
Yeah, it is.
Things just get sold out from under people all the time. Look at Taylor Swift. And sometimes you have to be creative and take matters into your own hands. And it seems like somewhere along the line, Beagle was very smart in negotiating what was owed to him. And I'm glad that, if nothing else, like he had that public support to get reconnected with what was his based on the success of his story.
It takes a special circumstance. Yeah. I mean, something similar happened to Chuck Palahniuk, where like his like accountant ran off with all of his money, took everything.
Yeah.
Like left the country. And
that kind of thing happens.
I have no money for all of my work, all of my years and decades spent writing novels. I got nothing.
Unbelievable.
And like fans were like, take our money. You've like changed our lives. Here's all of our money.
That's really cool.
One person was like, this is our kid's college fund. It's yours.
Whoa.
Yeah. He was like, I can't.
I mean, I like a lot of things, and I also don't have any children.
But I mean, for like an artist to have that much, I mean, I can't imagine giving anybody that much that much money. But
depends on how much is coming in, I guess.
Sure, but to like leave that kind of an impact on someone's life.
And I mean, in the research, I found there were like research papers from. Like, I think somebody did like something equivalent to their thesis on the novel and like what it meant to their life and how like the idea of being born into a world that is missing something like that exists, but no one else does. Like there's this like phantom limb idea feeling almost that like you're here in this world that like, okay, you belong here and you're supposed to be here, but like something else isn't, that like there's just this phantom idea. And it feels like Beagle felt that really heavily. And I can relate to that feeling, which is another reason why I'm kind of disappointed that I don't connect that much with the movie. But maybe things will change as we continue through part 2 next time.
I think you should read the book for sure.
Yeah,
but I mean, that is the essence of Molly Gru's character. Once the unicorn shows up, she's like, where have you been?
Right. Where have you been all my life?
How dare you show up now? I was ready for you 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Now I'm this, and my life has become this, and now you show up?
Yeah.
That's the essence of this entire story.
So heavy.
It's like, I've been waiting for you forever. I'm too tired to live the adventure. I'm too tired to do this,
Yeah.
But then you still have a choice to make.
Right. And sometimes maybe you think you're too tired to live the adventure, but
and then you're not.
Maybe the adventure is going to live you all along.
Sometimes you live it out and then you become Christian's favorite character in the story. The one who nothing else would have happened if you didn't
and then
exist.
There's that like we talk about frequently, the hope of a second chance, of something changing, of like fate changing. Like you hope in Taylor Swift, The Prophecy, like I've been on my knees, change the prophecy. Like I want this to change, the prophecy, this thing, something is behind me, this force in my life that I can't outrun or escape. Like, but I need it to change.
Yeah.
Sometimes it does.
Sometimes
you heard it here, not first, but
maybe first.
At least once.
I think a lot of people need to hear that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do need to hear that. I think I need to hear that.
I do.
I think anybody in their 30s living through this current, political climate, American climate, the regime, like any of the above, like if
financial climate.
Yeah, financial climate for sure.
Existential climate. Anybody living through this,
it's never a bad thing to hear that maybe the thing that you're hoping for against all odds, against hope, could still show up.
Don't lose
maybe
hope.
When you least expect it.
And that's pretty much what all of part 2 of this movie night's going to be about.
So yeah, we wrapped it up all at once.
We did it. So no need to do part 2.
Man, I think we'll have some angry darklings on our hands.
Oh, that would be the end of us.
But if you are angry, if you aren't angry, if you want to chat with us,
if you have given up hope, if you haven't given up hope,
we would love to chat with you. You can reach out to us on our social media at That's Pretty Dark Podcast, on Instagram at That's Pretty Dark, on TikTok. You can email us at That's Pretty Dark Podcast at gmail.com. Keep those conversations flowing, which is really, I mean, we love it. That's why we're here, is that connection. Thank you again so much to ParaPods, to Em and Christine of And That's Why We Drink, to all of the amazing shows on ParaPods. We couldn't be more excited to be part of your family. And the coolest thing to us about ParaPods is that the mission behind all of these shows is so similar to the mission that we have been out here just screaming to the airwaves for 4 years, which is you are never really alone.
That's right.
That is a core, like, foundational facet of all of these shows.
That's right.
To find that community, to find that like depth of community, and to recognize that there are other people out here in the world who feel the way that you do. And that, I mean, couldn't ask for a better network home. And
we found our people.
We found them.
We found them in you guys, and then we found them in a podcast network. So there's a lot more there to be discovered.
Together. Right.
That's right. We're all here.
And if you want to continue discovering us, we also have our Patreon, patreon.com/TPD podcast. $5 a month gets you some behind the scenes stuff. We've got some video episodes there. You might be seeing some video episodes creeping onto some other platforms. We're working on it. We're working some stuff out.
You definitely will. It's just a matter of when's Christian going to figure that shit out.
It's a matter of time.
Also, I was really building up to doing a whole new series of ghost stories too for the Patreon, which I'm still going to do. But if you want an explanation as to why that hasn't happened, I did one of them. Mm-hmm. The reason is because at the same time we were joining a new podcast network, and there were a lot of things in the works, a lot of things that were happening that in my free time I needed to dedicate my attention toward. And so, it's just been a very necessary thing that had to happen. And as soon as the dust settles, it's going to be back to your regularly scheduled programming. So
we are getting settled.
It's not like I just forgot about it or just like didn't do it.
Decided not to.
There was just other stuff that trumped that.
And stuff that like we haven't been able to say like out loud yet. So it's just really fun also and exciting to like just talk about it with all of you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting us.
We're always working. Working.
Yeah, even if it looks like we aren't, I promise.
Even if you wonder what the hell we do all day, we're working hard. But on the note of working hard, we're going to come back for part 2 next time and get into the meat. We're digging our harpy talons in. You could tell we were trying to get into it tonight, but we couldn't quite get to it.
Yeah, we're getting there. There was a lot to say, and the background, I always appreciate knowing where the minds who made it are coming from. So, we'll journey forward.
It provides all the context we need. So, we'll catch you guys next time. Part 2 of The Last Unicorn. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you.
And listen to those ads.
Yeah, listen to those ads. Wow. All those ads. That's Pretty Dark Podcast is produced by Kalyn Andrews and me, Christian Baxter Mott.
With music by Jonathan Simmons and cover design by Halftone Horror.
You can support our show by supporting our sponsors, or go to patreon.com/TPD podcast to unlock all the Pretty Dark bonus content we have in store.
Please share your experiences and let us know what shows, films, or villains still haunt you from childhood on our socials or at that'sprettydarkpodcast@gmail.com.
For all other information, visit our website, that'sprettydark.com.
Remember, you're never really alone.
So, until next time, sweet dreams, everyone.
It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But here's a big one you need to hear. Billions. That's the amount of money in refunds the IRS has flagged for possible identity fraud. Now here's another big number. 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. One last big number. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.